Hello everybody, this is Nestarish. Welcome back to Nestarish Gaming. Today, this is part 5 of the Gardner House in renovation to turn it into an inn, pub, little building. If you've seen the previous video, we finished up here and I had just put the basics in, but I did not put a lot of details. Now, in the interest to save a lot of time, because I understand my other videos were nearly an hour long each, building all these little rooms and all the putting everything the way I want, the fireplaces, all that stuff. So in interest to save time, I wanted to go ahead and put down all the little details that anybody can put wherever they want. And you'll see what I mean in a minute. I'm going to walk around and show you, give you a little update on what I've done to finish up, and little details. I mean like plates and putting up kegs over the bar and things like that, where everybody can make their own designs and put them up and really make it the way they want to. That being said, let's not wait anymore and go ahead from here. Now, we left off here in this bathroom. I made a simple little bathroom just for the non-noble people, the royals, the commoners. This is for the commoners, not the royals that come through town. And I made this little bathroom. Now, I added a little picture frame and some lighting in here just because you got to see what you're doing when you're in the bathroom. And I put a little door here too, just for a little privacy. It's all it is a divider, the Breton divider, and I just made it so it looks like it can fold shut when you go in. Now coming down the hallway, I've added some decorations. I put the map of Tamriel up here, some pictures, just to give it more of a homey feel. In here, I put up some curtains in this family room, and I also put in a rug and added some little details, a little plant in the corner, just to make it feel homey for anybody traveling through. And in this room, I did the same thing. I put in a curtain and some pictures. Actually, I put them in. I didn't like them, so I put in a rug. Sorry, and I put the curtain. This is just simple travelers passing through, bunk beds, a couple of friends or whatever coming through. And I didn't do a whole lot to the noble room. Really, just added a feather pen for their night riding, and I put some jewelry boxes on the tables there, just because they probably want to have some place to store their jewelry. Up here, I put a little dog here. I mean, dogs love fireplaces. My dogs love to lay in front of the fire. And I also put up a couple of little trophy heads. When you come down here, you probably hear meowing. I added this to the bar. I added some mugs, some bottles, some cups, the kegs above head, and then cats like to climb things. There's a cat. But you can still see, I took away one of the kegs because it just didn't look right that high up. So we have that over here. And I finished up the drum set. I added that last cymbal over here to make it look more like a drum set. And what I wanted to do is put in this music box, because every bar I've gone to with a band, in between bands, they usually have music playing in the background. So I just thought I'd put that up here. Now over here, I've created where the locals would come in, or just the regular folk would come in and eat and drink and have a good time. Put in the food, the plates, the drinks, pictures. There's a picture there. And every video, every home I make, you will see I have to have a turkey. Always have to have a turkey. So here it is here. Kind of looks a little underdone, but it's okay. And a little fruit plate up here for people that were sitting here. And here's one, maybe a couple sitting down, having a nice little meal on a Friday night, waiting for their food to come in. They got their appetizers. Over here, they have some appetizers too. Another couple with a pitcher here and some stew, and they're just ready to go. Over here, something bad happened, I think, because you'll see the table's knocked over, a knife sticking out of the table. Wine was spilled. You never waste good wine. Dinner plate was tipped over with some fish on it, mugs on the floor, mugs up on the table. Something bad happened here. I also put a little plant in the corner just to fill in over here. Now, I was going to put something over here, but I may put a rug later, or some crates in there just to make it look filled in. But really, there's not a whole lot of room to do anything in here. Over here, I put a server who's taking the order of whoever's going to be sitting here for dinner. A couple little knickknacks like little pots in a corner, things like that, just to give it a more lived-in look. Now over here, I moved this keg rack over to by the stairs, added some breads and food onto this station, getting ready to take stuff upstairs. Have this little hutch with a couple little bowls on, or a bowl and a plate on it, a couple little dishes. And over here, I've added some meat, preparing to take upstairs. You got the empty Ashlander bowl, plate, and ready to cut up. Some of the ham has been cut up, if you notice. And the cheese ready to put on that plate to go with the stew that's cooking on the pot, and got this meat ready to cook as well. Over here, I've added a few things. I put up some bowls, stacked up some bowls ready to take upstairs, and some things you need to make food, including this little rice bag. Now, to credit the person that came up with this, this is from Siciliano from Curry Gaming Inc. on YouTube. This was her idea. You take the clockwork pot and you sink it down so the rice is coming through. It looks like you got a cup full of rice you just scooped out and you're ready to cook or whatever. And I did add some meat over here by the fireplace so we can go ahead and get ready to cook that as well. And no kitchen out some food that you need to have ready, some produce ready to be cooked. And I have the dishes inside the sink that are waiting to be washed. And these have been washed. Put a little bit more food over here, hanging ready to be washed and prepped for cooking. And the folks that run the tavern, they have to have a place to eat too. So here they go. They can just relax after a hard day's work and eat. Do their laundry too. So that's what they're doing. Now, made a little litter pan for a cat, for the cats that live here. And this one, somebody's left some presents in it. And I got to figure out how to make a scoop so I can scoop that out. All right. And over here we just have the regular cargo for the stuff they need to run a tavern. This was a luxury item a couple weeks ago, and I absolutely love these things. These are just pretty cool. The Red Guard basket for merchants. It's really, really cool. And then over here, I finished up the bedroom as well. They have to have a place for their clothes. The people that live here, the tavern owner and his wife, or the tavern owner and her husband. You never know. Little mirror so they can change their clothes and look and make sure they look good. Put that over there, some tapestries, just to give it a little feel look. But they don't spend a lot of time in here, so there's not going to be a lot of things in here that they need. So that's basically it. You're caught up to speed on what I've done on the inside. Nothing major, just placing little things here and there all over the place just to give it a more filled in look. And that's what you want to do with your house. Once you get the basics down, the tables, upstairs I made the walls, the bar put in, the cooking area downstairs. Once you get the big things like that put in, knock yourself out. Have fun. Put whatever you want, make whatever you want. You can do all kinds of things to make it your own and your own lived-in space. So what I haven't done, though, is the outside. I wanted to wait for you all to come and check out the outside and see what you think. So I've got some ideas for the outside. I grabbed a bunch of stuff to try to throw things together to see how it's going to look. I'm not sure yet, but I had some ideas to see. So what I want to do is, first of all, this is the space we have. You come out here, and the inside of this house, the Gardner House, is a bigger version with a basement of Ravenhurst, if you think about it. But what they did was they said, "Oh, I'll give you a basement, but we're going to take away half your backyard," which is okay. So we've got this area back here, this little stable-looking area, which is a good idea. This bothers me, this dilapidated house next door. The neighbors let go, it's all boarded up. But I got some ideas to cover that up and make it look totally different and better so it doesn't look really bad, hopefully, if it works out. So you're gonna come along with me and figure out if this works out. First thing I want to do is put up some trees to fill in the space. Trees are awesome to put in when you're creating something because they take up a lot of area but with only one slot. And some of the trees I really love you get from Eleanor. I love the blooming ginkgo. I love it because it's a really nice looking tree. It takes up a lot of area, gives some decent shade, and it's got the blossoms that fall. And I just think that's really cool. Now it's important when you're putting them around walls, you don't want that, or houses, excuse me, you don't want them to sink into the walls. You don't want them to sink into fences. You want to make sure that they're clear of whatever object. And you just have to play with it, turn around, tweak it a little bit. But for the most part, that's clear. Those branches are clear. Now, little branches are going to grow into walls like they hit walls. That's just life. So that's not that big a deal. But you don't want one of the boughs to go through a wall or through this pillar, so to speak. It just doesn't look good. It looks horrible. And again, it's cleared the house a little bit. But when you come out now, when you come outside, you got some shade, and you got these petals floating down. It just looks really, really nice. Now over here, I'm going to go with the space filler and the shade thing. So what I want to do in this one, I've got a couple different ones. I got the wide tree trunk shade and the upstretched. And these things give you a lot of shade. I'm going to go with this one first because it's not as wide, but it still gives a good amount of shade. And you can still play with it and see how you want to be. Now, I like how that arm on the opposite side stretches out. You could tweak this around a little bit, play with it, and make it like a little archway almost, where you're walking in underneath it to get back to the back. It just kind of covers it. So see how it's hitting the house there? One thing you can do is just click on it, tilt it back. I mean, nature doesn't grow in straight lines. It's still hitting the house, but it's not going into the house, and that's the important thing. It just doesn't look good if it's going through walls. It just doesn't look natural, because it's not natural. So now we got two things, and we've done a pretty decent job filling up this area, but in between you can put little plants and trees, which I want to go ahead and do and put a couple of those little things in here. See what I can find. Like this little birch tree, not too big, and it would look real nice. Birch trees are my favorite trees in real life. I just like the white bark like that. It's just the silvery bark looks so cool. And you put it up there. Don't want to hit any other trees, so you just tweak it a little bit, move it around. And look, this place, just with three things, it looks a lot more full than it did. You can go along here and just put in maybe some hedges, which I picked up along the way, if I can find them. Here we go. Like the overgrown ones. You don't have to have them up all the way like that. You could keep them down a little bit, just so it gives a little bit of a textured look, I guess. Plus it raises it up off the ground, and you can kind of guide the path with these things too. You can put them in, cover up some of the other plants that you don't like. The grass in this game really bugs me. I wish they put in a lawnmower that actually worked, because you put structures down and the grass comes right through them, and that really kind of bugs me a little bit. But here I put in 3 hedges. Now I have a pathway. It's not looking too bad, if I do say so. And over here, I didn't want to put hedges here because it's too much when you come out here. And if you come in through this door, that would be too much too, because this is a very small, confined space. So what I'm going to do is put little bushes in here. You can still fill it up, and you can make it look nice. You can put little plants like this right here, and it may look strange coming out of the ground, but you're going to put little shrubs and things like that in there too. Maybe this guy's hiding behind the corner because he's shy. I don't know. Alright, that was my Bob Ross attempt for the day. Happy little plants. Not going to do it again, at least in this video. At least I hope I won't, because then people will not want to watch. I don't even want to watch when I do stupid things like that. Anyway, so putting a little bit of color into with the white. The little hibiscus goes there, and now we look for some shrubs. I have other plants too to put in, but I don't want to put those in just yet. Let's see, what would be a good one? Going along with the theme for a little bit of color, you could plug in this area here that doesn't have a lot, just like the cobblestone look to it. You put that there. I like these blooming sunbird bushes. Again, adds color to your yard. You don't want to be plain and boring. It looks really, really nice like that. Put a couple around the trees. Turn around if that one doesn't quite fit right. So you can just move some stuff around. I got to tell you, I was having a conversation with Josh from Curry Gaming just last night. Actually, and we were talking about how the housing is in this game compared to other games. Now there are other games with housing, and they're pretty cool, but none of them compare to ESO with the way you can combine things and make things and put things together and create what you want, how you want it. And this game is just phenomenal at doing that. It's just a fantastic system. They did a really great job with their housing. There's no bones about it. And again, all of the stuff I'm placing down, when you do yours, do it the way you want. It's entirely up to you, and it's really cool because you can be as creative as you want. I've seen some things that people have made that I can't discuss because it's not exactly family friendly, but it was still really creative and actually pretty cool. Um, so I can't stress enough how important it is to be creative and let that flow. Let it come out. It's almost like being an artist, not quite, but it's a lot cheaper than therapy. Let me tell you. All right, so I got these. These are the achievement bushes from the clothing skill line. These are those little bushes, and they got butterflies that come out of them. So I like to take a couple of them and just plant them in a couple shrubs. You know, just not much, just a couple, because you don't want to get overkill. But this way, when people walk out, now they see. I think I might move that one in the middle more, just to make it a little bit more symmetrical. So when they walk out, there's a little bit of color because they're yellow in those bushes. But they can also see the butterflies. Now it's a little dark here in the game now, so it's kind of hard to see. But you can see them floating around, and it makes it look nice. So over here, we got a little bit of a not barren, but a spot that's not really filled up that much. So you could put more color. I like doing that. I like putting colors because it just looks better than plain old greenery um, in the game. I'm going to save this one for over here at this end of the bush, I think, just because. This way it spreads out the coloring. Also spreads those things out so they don't look like they're all clumped in one area. Now I still have those, and those little flowers that came with it, they almost look like, I can't think of what they are. Oh man, when you blow into them and they spread everywhere, dandelions. That's kind of what they look like, and that's pretty cool. I mean, you got a little bit of white coloring to go with the orange coloring and the red, and some white over here kind of ties together a little bit. So that's not too bad. This isn't bad. You can always put a little plant down here, or shrub, in that little area between the steps and the little dandelion looking things. So I might just do that. I might just put a little bit, and it's a little bit darker, which might make them stand out a little bit more. There, just a little shrub, and kind of looks good going up that way. So this is what people will see when they first come out right now. I mean, we still have work to do, but you come out and boom, there's that tree with blossoms falling right in front of you. You come down here, you look, you got nice. Now that one is a little bit too far over, so you can again adjust it the way you want. Try not to make it clip into the wall if you can. See, that's what that's doing there. And there you go. Now you come down here, you got all this little walkway. You've got a guided walkway down this little path that looks a lot better than it did when you first came out here. Now I stopped this right about here. I'm going to move it back just a little bit because I want to turn that area, this thing, into a barn, a workplace barn. So we're going to work on that next to get that taken care of. Again, it's great. The great part of this about this game is how creative you actually can be. So we're going to start with a door. You got to have a door to get into a barn. Usually it's a big barn door, but I'm not going to do that. I say barn, I'm going to say this is just like a giant shed, work shed. So let's go ahead, and then what I like to use for doors, pretty simple. I like to use the large, oh, went too far, the large paintings, the bolted ones, because all you got to do is turn them around, and there's a door. Just stand it upright, make sure it's straight, and look, you got a door, a big door, especially for a work shed. That's pretty cool. Now you're going to put it in as far as you can, but you're going to want to cover up as much of the front as you can. Also, you're going to want to center it. Now the center line I'm using is the one that comes, well, right in the center of the house there, and then they got the center line in the painting. So I'm going to try to line that up a little bit better, because I'm always wanting to get the things lined up perfectly. And that's, see how it's leaning out a little bit? Don't want that. So it's real simple. Put it back, and it lines up nicely. Now the center of that door lines up nicely with that. Now there's a space there, but between the wall and that, don't worry. We're going to cover that up. It's going to look pretty good if it works. If it doesn't work, then my idea sucks. But we're going to give it a shot. You're coming along with me on this journey, because I have not even tried it. I just pictured it in my head and ran with it. So, but I wanted to do it on the video to see. Now up here, every barn has a top part where they have like hay bales coming down or boxes coming down. They got a little winch. So what I want to do is bring this out a little bit. First, I want to see if it's clipping through the, yeah, see how it's clipping through the roof? I don't want that. So I'm going to bring it down a little bit to see how it looks. And I'm bringing it on the outside of the beams on the outside of the house, and it's still clipping. You just got to play with it a little bit. It's okay though. That's part of the fun of this, is to figure out and accept the challenge of what they have and try to overcome it. Now that you could almost get away with that being part of the house, just like a little outcropping of the house. That's a detail not a lot of people would see, but you could get away with it. I think I'm still going to try to lower it. There we go, just a little bit more, and bring that out like that. Now that should have eliminated that completely. Oh no, just a little bit more, but not much you can do about that. Now I want to bring it out a little bit, because I want to give it some depth back there. I want it to make it look like it's, I have an idea to make it look dark, like there's something in there. It's not just flat against the wall, so you got to go in there. And moving that out, how did that do? Made it worse. Let's try tipping it a little bit, see what happens there. Just a notch. You know what, I can live with that, because it does look like it's an outcropping coming from the roof, and that's fine with me. I also can put a tree over there to hide it, and in fact I might just do that. You learn to hide a lot of things in this game, a lot. But that's okay, because you know, in the end it just has to look good. And now that I'm centering it, that might take care of the problem too. I just realized it wasn't centered. Little tiny bit coming off. How far away from center is that? I went too far. Alright, so that's the little things about this, is you just try to make it the best you can, as you can. Don't like that change, so I'm just going to undo it. I love the undo feature. The new features they have in here for housing, the undo, the linking things together, it's amazing. Alright, so I'm looking at that. Still is not quite right. I don't know why it's bothering me as much, but I think I need to sink this in a little bit more. So let's try that, because it's sticking out pretty far. There. I wonder what that did to it. Did that help? No, not really. Oh, that's okay. Little detail like that can be easily covered up. So what I want to do in this space, since it's rounded, and I want to make it darker, I had an idea of using one of these. You can get these in the guild stores. You actually, I've seen the recipe where you can make them too. They're pretty pricey though. But I picked up one of these in Guild Traders to use for this place because I thought it would be perfect for this. Now just trying to line it up and back a little bit so it looks like there's depth to it. Give it the illusion of, you know, looking in there, and it's going to take a little bit of work. Now obviously I'm not going to be able to build a room in there. I wish I could. That would be really cool if I could get access to that house right there. That would be fantastic, but I can't. So all we can do is try to give it the illusion of depth when people come in. And I think to do that, it might help if we just... Oh, that wasn't right. If we can just tilt this just one notch just to see, and it gives it, like, see how it kind of sinks in a little bit? That actually works kind of well. Now I don't think this door is centered. I don't think it's turned enough. Or not turned. I just gotta turn it just a little bit to make it flush. But there, we got the upper area of the barn slash shed, and now we have the door, but we need a frame around it. And the good thing for the frame for that is the Khajiit frame. It's awesome. It's big. It'll fill up a lot of spaces, and it'll cover up some spaces too. So what I did there is just put that around the door. That's, you know, that's not centered at all. That's really bugging me. I gotta figure out why. There we go. That might be a little bit better. There. So now we have a doorway. We've covered up some gaps. Now this is going to have to come back a little bit, or down a little bit rather, because it's got that area right there. Just tweak it, move it around, and got to play with it a little bit. And I guess I got to pull this one down a little bit too, this outside one, which actually works well because now you got that whole front panel that it goes from there up. So all we'd have to do is fill in the sides and a little bit at the top. Might have an idea. I have an idea what to fill in the sides. I'm not sure about the top, but we'll figure that as we go along. So now we have doorway, and that's got to come down to that tablet. So let's move that down a little bit. Fill in the spaces, and that's going to cover up the space between the door that was there and where this was located before, how it was placed. That's going to fill that in. Now this doesn't have to be precise because it's inside. It's supposed to be inside the barn. Now I want to try to give that a little bit more illusion of depth. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try with some lighting. And what I want to use on the lighting, one of these Tanzel Kalunda stones. And all I'm going to do is just sink that back in there. And you see how it kind of lights up? It looks like it's just subtle lighting around there and up at the top above the archway too. Like there's something in there. Like you can go in there. That's what I was going for. And obviously it's not going to look perfect because you can't dig into the wall. So I wish you could. But you can't. Alright, so we're sitting here and got the doorway. And it's still a little off center for me, so I'm going to just tweak it a little bit because that's a little bit of OCD in me. So there's now you need a handle to go into a door. I mean, it helps, at least in my opinion. So what I want to do is use one of these Indoril incense cups, and I'm going to go in first person for this one. It's just easier. And just make it straight, turn it, and just sink it into the door. You can put it anywhere if you want. You can make a couple of them if you want. You can make handles out of all kinds of things, and door handles and But I just wanted a simple doorknob that would, look like a doorknob. Did I sink that in too far? Yes. So let's go ahead and just pull that out just a bit. Take a look. Boom. There. Now I've got a door going into a barn / shed. But it doesn't look right because you got all these nasty walls on each side of it. So what I did was, in one of my other houses, I used the orc platforms, these things, in my Ravenhurst house to do in the walls, because it had a similar look but cleaner with the white walls with the wood around it. It was just cleaner, but it's a similar look, and I filled all that in to make it more of a cabin feel. So I wanted to do the same with this. I want to try to sink this in. I want to keep the outside beams because it just looks better. It gives you a good idea where the structures are. And I'm just going to sink these in real quick. You can always go back and fix them like that. So I have two there, and actually, not bad, if I do say so myself. They went in quite nicely. It's a different colored wood than the frame, but that's okay because that's not that big a deal. The frame looks newer than the other stuff, like somebody just put in a new frame. Now we still have the stuff up top, that little spot up there. I'm going to try to fill in that space with another one of these structures. If it works, cool. If it doesn't, we'll try something else to see if we can make it look better than that nasty, dirty... I'm really messing things up there. Sorry, guys and gals. Let's try it again. Alright, so we're going to try to clean this up, and if we're done, we have the barn exterior done. But I got an idea, because I want to make sure that people know that little hole where the light's coming out of, the little upper level of the shed, barn, whatever you want to call it. Boom, look at that. Fits nicely. So now you got a whole new wall, and that looks a lot better than that nasty condemned building that was there before. So they got that. Now what I want to do is, a lot of barns when I was growing up had winches that came out of the top. They had ropes coming down, and they could lift stuff, and I'm sure they still do today. It's been a long time since I've been on a farm, but I'm sure that that's pretty much how it is with them today too. It's an easy way to get things up to the second level. So I'm going to build something like that. I'm not going to use a rope because they don't really have good ropes in this game. So I'm going to use chain. I'm going to use a chain because you can use they have all different things with chains that you can use to manipulate and put together these things. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this common post sign holder. It just looks like it would be perfect to use. Now it's kind of hard to see now. It's a little dark, so I like to work with a lot of lighting around so I can see what I'm doing. So I always keep one of these things around. These Varla stones are ridiculously bright. So I just popped it up there, and I'm not going to use it for anything. I'm just using it to see. And it just makes things easier. Alright, and I got to be honest with you, this is the first time I noticed the chimney at my house and the chimney in the house next door with the smoke coming out. That's a great touch. That's a fantastic touch by Zoss. I really like that. I'm all about attention to detail, and that's attention to detail right there. Well done. Well done. That's pretty cool, actually, and I never saw it before. And I feel like an idiot for not seeing it before. Okay, so here's what I'm going to use for the winch up at the top of that little doorway up there. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and... I don't want too long of a chain, but this is perfect. This little Lantern of Anguish, another achievement item. But it's actually pretty good for this. So what I want to do is go back into first person. Lining this up is going to be a little tough because you want it to look good. You got links in the chains. You want it to line up, and if possible, have that little pointy thing go through the chain. But actually, the way it lined up right there, I'm actually really happy with it because it goes right into it. It's not sticking out over the top of it. Wow, kind of got lucky on that one. Could come over. No, actually, I'm going to leave it the way it is. I'm going to leave well enough alone in this case. So what I'm going to do in this now is I want to link them together. Again, love that link feature. Link them together, so now they're one. Now that's looking stupid with the lantern coming down like that. I wanted to lift stuff up into the barn. So I went ahead and made one of these common cargo crates. Get back into third person mode. And what I'm going to do, I'm leaving the lantern. Did I leave it on? I want to leave the lantern on because I think at night it's going to look kind of cool. Slight reddish glow to it if it goes well. If it looks like I think it will. So what I'm doing now is I got that there. Now I want to line that up. I want to line it up in the center, and that's pretty darn close. Not quite, but pretty darn close. So, see, it's off this side though, so that's why you gotta put things down, move around, look, put things down, move around, look. That's what's taking me so long in these other videos. If you've seen the other 4 videos for this house, that's what takes so long, is trying to make it look natural, right, and symmetrical. And I think I may have achieved that. I'm not 100% sure. Going to first person, try to get a good view of this. Normally I'll have planks where I can lay down a plank and walk up them. You know what you could use anything, I guess. So let me see if I have. Yeah, I'll just use this extra one I had. And this helps a lot, so you can get a better. It helps if you can walk up it, but if you go ghost like that, it doesn't do you any good at all. All right, so yeah, that's pretty much centered from this point, from this angle. I still think it can move a little bit closer, a little bit more. Oh, too much. But that's just me being picky, and my OCD kicking a little bit. I do have a little bit of it. I admit it. It's not a bad thing. It used to be called perfectionist. Now they have. I like perfectionist better. All right. So what I want to do is I want to link that to these 2 items. So I have done that. Now all I have to do is click on that, turn it so it's facing me. And then all I have to do is put it up there. I know it looks weird up there with the light, with the Clinda light up there. It doesn't look anything like what I was wanting it to look like. But it's okay because that light's coming down and that won't be that way. Alright, so have this ramp here. Let's use it again. Now I'm going to... Oh, my bad. Clicked the wrong thing. I want to tilt this back a little bit and put it... I guess that was... I'll just tip it forward. Now, this I'm just playing around with, trying to figure out how we can do this. But you know what? I may go really high. Although that would be a problem. That post coming down into that door, trying to load it. That would be a big problem. I don't think that's lined up very well, so I want to pull it out again because I want to make sure I line it up right the first time. Things like that, when you get too far away like that, it's hard to click on them. You have to do a button, and it's a nightmare. See, it's not centered, and that's what I was worried about, so I want to do it right the first time. So I'm just lining that up the best I can while trying to sink in that pole. Alright, so I can still see a little bit of the pole, but not too much. Now what I'm going to do for this is turn that back out, and now I'm going to have to move it just a little bit because I want that to be straight across. Even though the chain's a little crooked, that's fine. Now let's see how that looks without the clean light. Get away. Oh, see, that blends in actually kind of nicely with what's up there. I'm actually pretty happy with it. And there's that red light I was telling you about. I thought might stand out a little bit just to... Now I just noticed those weren't straight, and that's going to bug me. The doorways have to be straight. We don't live in a dolly museum. We don't live in a dolly painting where you got melting clocks. So you got to make sure things are straight. One thing I was told by a good friend who's great at decorating, doing your house is never finished. You're always going to be working on it, tweaking it, bits and bobs here and there, as he says. Grim, that one's for you, brother. And he's right, because you can go all around and you'll see something and say, nah, I think this would look better. And that's the fun part about doing this. All right, so now we've got our barn. And I kind of like it, to be honest with you. But it's missing some things. I think we need to put some stuff on the outside to make it look like a barn or a shed. So I have a couple that I thought would be good. Little metal pole. Got little metal poles in the yard somewhere. Not really. No? Just me? Oh, okay. But, you know, it looks like you're building something and that's just leaning up against there. Like, yeah, I'm going to use that later. I'll just prop it there. Again, I'm just trying to give it a fill in some space, but trying to give it a lived-in look. And somewhere I have one of those scythes, and that would be awesome to put up there. There it is. And this one, I'm just going to put, I don't want to put it in the flowers yet. So you got it there. Not leaning against that enough, so you just turn it a little bit and lean it back. Boom. It's leaning against the wall. Kinda, is it? I could go back. Nope, it was. And there you go. Little details like that just add a lot to it. Now, what I should do is put a light on the outside because you do kind of need that. I don't know. I might just put one over here in a little bit just because I don't want to flood this area with lighting. I like the subtle lighting. Looks like there's something inside. And I didn't realize this, but this box in front of it kind of blocks it so it does look like, you know, hey, there's something going on up there. You know what I could do? Here's a thought. Don't know how it's going to work, but let's check it out. And we'll all find out together. We got that wheat. What's to say you don't stick a couple pieces, you know, just barely hanging out, just like it's just like the floor of the barn up there. You know what I mean? Just add little details. You're not going to see a lot. You're hiding a lot of it, which in a way kind of sucks because it's you got it. You want to use the whole thing, but no, look, you got that little subtle. Looks like wheat coming out the floor of the barn. All right, so that's kind of cool. Just trying to add a little bit of detail to make it look like you can go in there. All right, over here, had some good ideas. There's a basement in this. Be a really cool idea to put in a storm cellar. Now, when I don't come up with an idea, I give credit where credit's due. This one goes out to my son, my 10-year-old. His original thought was making a storm cellar like the door that we just put up for the barn. But he and I played around with a lot of different things and came up with the idea of putting this Breton merchant, whatever it is. It's a, oh gosh, I can't think of it. But anyways, just put that there, move it out and move it up a little bit. Straighten it out how you want. That's too much because it's crooked now. The ground is crooked and that doesn't help, but that's okay. As long as you leave the white part open like that, because that's where the doors are supposed to be. So you got this little one piece, one spot, and you got a little storm shed. Now you're going to add two more things to it. So it's really a three-piece set. But it works. It looks cool. It fills up some spots. You got a storm cellar, which there are no tornadoes in Tamriel. Thank God, at least I've never seen them. It sucks to go through those things. So, but if there ever was, now you're set. Now what you're going to do here is just put in handles, and you can put them about where you like them. I'm using the tongs. You know, these are easy to make and easy to buy. They're usually cheap at the guild stores if you can't make them. Those are my handles to get into the storm cellar. Little things like that. Just boom. Now, in 30 seconds, 3 pieces, we've got a storm cellar. Nice little conversational piece. It's kind of dark in here, and I was going to put some crafting stations here. The reason I want to put crafting stations here is if you go out that gate right there, right around the corner is the Master Writ vendor. Right there. So all I have to do is, if I want to do Master Writs, I'm going to have all my crafting tables in here too. I have them in one of my other houses, so I'm getting a whole new set. Bring them in here. I'm going to put them in here, and that's where I'm going to leave some spaces in this area because I want to put them around here to craft, and I'm right there. It takes 2 seconds to get to the guy, turn it in, get another one, come back to it. And if you're like me, you like to save up a lot of them to do it one time. All right, so we need some light in here though, and I'm not a big fan of the orc chandeliers. I really am. They're just ugh to me. They're just plain and boring, but they're very functional and they're very bright. And in this case, they're absolutely perfect for this area. You don't. I don't. This is just a little. I'm not looking to get something fancy like the Nord chandelier with the horns coming down like I have in the bedroom downstairs for the tavern owner. So boom, I've got lighting in here. There you go. Now I can put probably 4 tables in here when I get them. I got 2 right now I can put down, but I'm not going to do that now. But I'll fill this in and then fill in the rest of the space with the rest of the crafting tables. So I'm trying to make the space functional as well as look kind of cool. Now over here, I want to put in some hay for a horse. That's a stable kind of looking thing. So I want to put in some horses, but I also want to feed them. To do that, if I can find it, this Nord cart works really cool if you don't flip it around like that. So I'm going to choose that. I'm going to spin it around. I don't want the actual cart. As much as possible, I just want the hay. So I'm going to sink this down as much as I can while still seeing the hay. So now you can't really see the wheels. You see part of the cart, so I'm trying to hide that bottom part of the cart, the wooden part. So now you just got hay on the ground. Now to cover that up, what I want to do is, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put something over there. I could put barrels there if I want. If I have anything real quick, I'm not going to go make something and put it there. That just wouldn't be good right now. I don't want to go over how much time I usually have. I can always put rocks, frame it out like it's a little trough type area. I could do that. Need to go first person again because a lot of times first person view is the best view when you're trying to do things like this. If you're trying to put in things to cover up other items. But I think this is going to work out pretty well. And you get these at a lot of the vendors. They're like 100 gold. Pretty easy to get. And look. Now I can go and I can get a trough at another time, and I will get a trough at another time, so the horses can have water. But look at that, boom. Now we need a horse to eat. So let's go ahead and bring out a horse. I'm just going to go with a normal horse in this one. Again, it's just a tavern. It's nothing like the Grand Sijic, the Princely Dawnlight. It's not the Grand Topol. It's nothing like that. It's just a little inn. So I'm just going to have a simple little horse. I got an idea. Actually, this idea was a brainchild of Josh from CGI Gaming, Curry Gaming Inc. on YouTube. And we were, again, just coming up with stupid ideas for lots of things last night. And we came up with this idea, and he was the inspiration for it. So Josh, shout out to you for coming up with that, man. It's really cool. It works really well, yet it's disgusting and disturbing at the same time. The idea he came up with, if you're going to have horses go to the bathroom. Kind of disturbing, but the harvester's ore. We were reckoning what would be a good thing for little horse patties. The achievement for blacksmithing. There you go. Now it matches a cat litter pan that I got to scoop up downstairs. So there's that. We've got this area looking good. Now right here, I think we could use a well. Something to fill in here. Actually, I could probably sneak one into the bush and still have time, or room rather, to put some crafting stuff in here. I could put some crafting stuff there. I'm thinking, you always think of the future, into the future, what you want to do with other things. So I could put that's 2 spots there, 4 spots, that's 6, and I just won't put up a changing table. Changing, yeah, like we have diapers to change. The outfit changer. I just won't put one up out here, so that's fine. I'll put a well here, and there are several wells. The ones that came out yesterday in the luxury vendor are fantastic. And even though it doesn't really fit, I have other wells that would fit better, I think. If I could find them. I know where they are. The Hughes Vein wells are really cool. I like them a lot. I like the fact that they're raised, so I can hide the plants that come through. I'd rather use one of these two, preferably this one, but it doesn't go high enough up in the for the plants. What I'm talking about, you put the well down, and boom, you got grass coming through, and that just looks like crap. So I would rather use one of these in this case, and that's what I was talking about earlier about the grass. I wish we could get rid of that. I really wish, or if you put something on it, it would tamp it down. I understand the game mechanics is probably too hard to put in there. I'm not complaining about ZOS, don't get me wrong. I'm not one of those guys saying I hate them, they need to be better at this, or whatever. I'm not. I actually think they do a great job overall. Nobody's perfect, I get that. But I like the job that they do. And I love the fact that they, for the most part, they do listen to the players. And which is impressive, because you see the changes they make are due to a lot of player conversation. Now, is that floating? I can't tell. Yeah, it was floating a little bit. So there, we got a well. It's kind of high up in the air. So what you can do, if you really want to, is, I don't want to put it out in the middle of the sidewalk. That would look tacky. But I picked up, I always have plenty of these. If I can find the limestone, that's not it. The limestone, yikes. Limestone staircases. One of these days I'll learn how to talk and click buttons at the same time. Maybe, no promises. See, there's a problem there with that, like that though. You got the plants coming through it again. But now, you can just walk up to the well, get what you gotta get. Oh, cool, the rain's hitting the water in the well. I like that. That's probably unintentional. I like that. And it's not really blocking too much of this way here. So, we got a couple minutes left this video. It still made it nearly an hour. That's okay. I hope you've enjoyed this 5-part series on this one house. Listening to my thought process, that's the thing I was trying to get through, was really what I was thinking when I was making these things, to try to convey how I was thinking about putting things down. I hope I didn't bore you guys. I hope you had a good time. I hope you had some ideas. If you see something that you like or don't like, let me know. If you have an idea on how to change things around to look better, look more functional, then let me know. I'm always looking for other people to, not to steal from, but to listen to their ideas and to go from there and implement them here. And if you do take some of my ideas and you change things around, make them better, which I'm sure you can and will, if you do that, let me know too. I'd love to come and see it if you don't mind. That would be fantastic. I appreciate you tuning in. If you like what you saw today in this video and the other videos, please click the like button. If you really liked what you saw, feel free to click the subscribe button and that little notification bell. That way when I put up new videos, then you will be notified immediately and you can come out and see what I've done next. And I hope you've enjoyed it. I appreciate you coming by Nestarish Gaming. Again, my name is Nestarish. It's been really cool doing this with you guys. I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you all very, very soon.